The birth of Emma's lovely daughter altered the course of Emma's life in an unexpected way. When the doctor felt forced to call the authorities after learning the father's identity, the elation immediately faded into fear. Emma mustered all the bravery to speak up, her voice quivering with fear. She wanted things to remain that way with the baby's father, with whom she hadn't spoken in a long time. She had made the decision to retain the baby despite the hectic circumstances. She told her parents this and the truth about the father, and they were astonished and first doubted her decision. Nevertheless, upon witnessing her determination, they ultimately rallied behind her 100%. After months of procrastination, Emma finally felt the weight of her daughter's presence in her arms and knew she had to do something, for the sake of her daughter and all girls. She wished the world might be a safer place, so she courageously told the doctor the truth about the baby's father, and the doctor immediately called the police. While waiting for the results, Emma sat on her bed, her heart racing. Standing by her side, Sad, her best friend, offered solace by grasping her quivering hands. Emma had told Sad earlier that day that she was terrified she was pregnant. In order to be there for her friend, Sad had dropped everything without thinking twice. Sad took Emma and her boyfriend out of town to get a pregnancy test since Emma was too afraid to be seen. They were now watching the test strip in Emma's room with much anxiety. As the outcome started to show, time appeared to drag on. They waited anxiously as the first line appeared. With a whispered prayer, Emma hoped the result would stay the same, proving she was not pregnant. Moments thereafter, a second line showed up on the pregnancy test strip, confirming that Emma was really expecting. Emma seemed unresponsive at first, but eventually she broke her silence, until Emma looked up and saw her tears falling. The second line might have gone unnoticed. Emma immediately started crying, and Sad comforted her by wrapping her in a bear hug. Emma sobbed uncontrollably while Sad stood by her side, understanding the difficulty her friend must be going through due to their shared past and the reasons her last relationship ended. Emma requested Sad to keep quiet about it until she had collected herself, namely in regards to her parents. Sad did as well, but he urged them consult a medical professional. The following morning, they were fortunate enough to get an appointment. Emma skipped school the next day by acting sick. Upon observing her pale complexion, her parents advised her to consult a physician. Emma told her mother she wouldn't be taking her since Sad would be picking her up instead. Fortunately, Emma's parents didn't suspect a thing because Sad and Emma were so close. After saying farewell to her parents, Emma eagerly awaited Sad's arrival, her mind racing with questions and concerns, the most pressing of them being, how would I care for this baby? Sad picked Emma up just after her parents left for work, and the two of them hurriedly went to Emma's doctor's appointment. In the doctor's office, they anxiously awaited Dr. Roberts calling Emma's name. Emma and Sad went jointly into his office, knees quivering. After 30 minutes or so, the girls departed from the doctor's office. At 10 weeks along, Emma's pregnancy was confirmed by Dr. Roberts, who also gave them the reassurance that both Emma and the unborn child were doing well. He gave Emma the direction and certainty that she much needed. Dr. Roberts informed Emma that she didn't have to make hasty judgments because he understood her circumstances and that she was single at the moment. After giving it some thought, he offered to set up another appointment and encouraged her to take her time. At first, Emma was positive she didn't want to keep the child. Being young, she didn't feel ready, she didn't have a career or a college degree, and she couldn't imagine being a single parent. She also desired no contact with the baby's father, having severed her relationship with him for important reasons. In an effort to put their relationship behind her, she had rid herself of everything that made her think of him. Carrying their child would just make things more difficult, but as time went on and Emma came to terms with her pregnancy, she started to imagine what it would be like to be a mother. It no longer seemed so intimidating as it had. She noticed physical changes in her body and began to think more about the life growing inside of her. It was getting harder to keep her pregnancy a secret from her parents. Sad wasn't the only one who knew. Emma had complete faith in Sad and confided in her anytime she needed someone to work things out. When Emma eventually told Sad that she was thinking of keeping the baby, she was worried about how she would respond. She was relieved that Sad was ecstatic for her. She was aware of how difficult Emma's choice was, and she gave her complete support. Emma was relieved that Sad would be there for her. After a few months, Emma was unable to conceal her pregnancy from her parents. They were astonished and alarmed by what the baby's father had done, and they were also quite angry with him, though they were first upset. They eventually came around to Emma's decision to become a mother and were happy to hear that she would be becoming a grandma. Emma made the decision to keep the baby's father at bay because she wanted him gone permanently. She felt exhausted but otherwise okay as she found calm and concentrated on her pregnancy. She felt prepared to confront motherhood on her own, with the help of her friends and family. As her due date drew near, Emma experienced a mixture of tension and preparedness when her water broke. Sad went to the hospital with her parents after they hurried her there to provide her support. He told her, "You're going to be amazing." Emma's parents accompanied her when she was brought to the delivery room. She persisted through excruciating contractions, and after several hours of pushing, Rose, a stunning and healthy baby girl, was delivered. Emma named Rose after her late grandmother and, when she held her in her arms, realized it was the best day of her life to date. Emma felt their journey was far from ended. Even though it was time to head home, she was happy and proud to be a mother. And she treasured every second she spent with Rose. Though she had concealed her pregnancy for the majority of it, she was thankful that everything had worked out, but she knew that there was an important issue that needed to be resolved, about the baby's father and what he had done to her. Emma had never told any doctors. Shocked and attempting to move on, she realized she had to stop him from escaping punishment when she saw the look on her daughter's face, nervous, but also convinced that this was the right thing to do for herself. Young Rose, and every lady in a similar circumstance, she called her first pregnancy check doctor to schedule an appointment. Emma went into the doctor's office for the first time after giving birth a few days later, her hands shaking. Being apart from Rose felt weird, but her parents were happy to keep an eye on her, already in love with their granddaughter and pleased of Emma for having finally taken action against the baby's father. They encouraged her. Ever since they discovered what he had done to their daughter, they had been resentful of him, even if Emma had been unwilling to bring it up until now, attempting to put the past in the past. Emma had pretended for years that her relationship with Jake never happened. Now that she was a mother herself, she mustered up the bravery to do anything. While sitting in the doctor's office, she nearly regretted calling because she couldn't think of the correct words to say. But the doctor's gentle expression and caring gaze gave her peace of mind. A soft, "It's okay," came from him. "Go at your own pace, at your convenience." With a long inhalation, Emma let loose all the pent-up emotions she had harbored for so long. Even to Sad, she had never completely conveyed how Jake's actions had impacted her. Only her parents and a handful of acquaintances were aware. Everything poured out at once. After she finished, the doctor did nothing for a while, just nodding and giving tissues while she sobbed. Even though she knew it wasn't her fault, Emma still felt humiliated and avoided looking into his eyes, fearing that he might reject her or disregard her. Tail gripped her. What he said next caught her off guard. With an air of seriousness, he asked, "I need to call the police about this." "Okay." Although Emma hated having to explain everything to strangers again, she nodded, realizing that alerting the police would help her receive justice. An officer showed up at Dr. Roberts's office shortly after she called. The cop was kind and helpful when he escorted Emma to the station so she could file charges. The cops were really concerned about making Emma feel safe and supported during the whole ordeal. Emma had a unique request for the police officer just before they left the doctor's office. To help her press charges, she needed to retrieve some vital paperwork, so she requested if they might stop by her residence. Intrigued by Emma's resolve, the officer concurred. After entering her residence, Emma wasted no time getting back to the car. She told the cop that she was finally prepared to do the right thing, hold her ex-boyfriend accountable for his mistakes. After arriving at the station, the officer escorted Emma to an interrogation room to await the arrival of a second officer. Emma had a renewed sense of determination, even though she knew she would have to repeat her story. Now that she knew she was making the correct choice, her fears and insecurities had vanished. Most importantly, she felt powerful because she had conquered her fears. At first, Emma's motivation came from thinking about Rose, but she soon understood that she was actually doing it for herself. Emma finally unveiled a significant item she had taken from home after an hour of telling her story. A unique box that had evidence of what Jake had done. even though it hurt to look at the box. She held onto it because she knew this day would come. Upon reviewing its contents, the police were taken aback. They borrowed the box that night and duplicated everything inside. Feeling a blend of joy and contentment, Emma finally made her way home, clutching Rose close. In spite of everything that had happened today, she felt accomplished for sticking up for herself and taking a big stride forward. The good news is that things started looking up after that. Jake was asked to report to the police station for questioning a couple of days down the road. At first, he denied all of the charges, playing the victim and accusing Emma of lying, but Emma had thought about his answer and had put evidence in the box with great care. Jake remained mute when the police officers handed him evidence copies. He refused to elaborate and instead demanded to talk with his attorney. It came as no surprise that he decided to add insult to injury by denying everything in court and alleging that Emma had faked her evidence. Jake ended up being convicted and given a prison term of several years. After everything he had done to Emma, she had no compassion for him and was happy that he had finally paid his dues. Emma had intended for a peaceful, private resolution, but the issue caught the attention of the media and generated a lot of interest on the internet. She was first embarrassed and relived her childhood fears as she started to be recognized on the street, but she also got comments from other women, and men, too, who had gone through similar experiences and said that her bravery had motivated them to act. Emma was driven to pursue that course after realizing the significant influence her tale had on others. She later created an organization to assist women in similar circumstances and produced a book describing her experiences. Those close to Emma claimed that during their relationship, Jake had been tremendously aggressive, something Emma had accepted for far too long. It was difficult for her to finally decide to leave him. When he found out she was going, Jake became more hostile and domineering. Emma started to worry about her safety at the conclusion. Emma was able to leave the abusive circumstances with the help of her parents and friends. She acted decisively, banning Jake from any and all communication channels. Jake was relentless in his attempts to get in touch with her at first, but he soon gave up. Emma thought he had finally come to terms with the fact that they could never make up and that she would never forgive him. Emma recovered her life and flourished after parting ways with Jake. She made more time for her pals and engaged in joyful pursuits. When she gave things some thought, she saw that her fear of reprisals had caused her to wait too long to denounce Jake to the police. But having Rose gave her newfound resolve and strength. Emma's unwavering resolve to put her child's safety and happiness above all else was strengthened by her love for them. Emma felt she needed to report Jake to the police, even though it was painful to think back on that horrible period in her life. With everything behind her, she felt relieved, content, and self-assured. She dreamed of a better future for Rose and herself, and the two of them did end up happy. Rose developed into a smart, healthy young woman. Along the way, Emma fell in love again and got married to her new partner after dating for a while. Thankfully, he was the complete opposite of Jake: kind, considerate, and ready to accept Rose as his own child. Together, they welcomed more children, growing their family. Emma was joyful than she had ever been. And everything was finally coming into place. Emma eventually got the lovely, loving family that she genuinely deserved. After watching the first story above, do you have any thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Now, let's watch another similar story. In a state of panic, he hurried his pregnant wife to the hospital, where she was just barely admitted to the maternity unit. As soon as the infants were born, everyone present could see that he was clearly not the father, and they all breathed a sigh of relief. There was a discrepancy. After falling in love while serving as Presbyterian missionary, Aaron and Rachel Robert were married and began talking about having a family not long after. They struggled with conception despite wanting biological children. After Aaron swallowed his pride and admitted he couldn't make Rachel's dreams come true, they bravely discussed other alternatives. Everything was going according to plan until the missing link became glaringly obvious. Aaron recommended looking into adoption. Even though Rachel's lifelong goal had always been to have a family of her own, they were both excited to be parents and do the right thing when they took in a little girl of 2 years old and a little boy of 3 years old, which seemed to open up new possibilities for them. The adoptive children were welcomed into Rachel's arms with an air of natural belonging. Even though they were happy, Rachel wished she could have a biological child. Following medical guidance, they encountered repeated setbacks. Relying on her heritage in the Mississippi Delta, Rachel saw comfort in sharing her struggles with her friends back home. Eventually, Rachel came to Aaron with some news. Rachel was hesitant to tell Aaron the news when she got back from her trip. The news that she was pregnant finally broke to him when she mustered up the nerve. Having a biological kid together was particularly crucial for Aaron, who treasured their adopted children passionately. Thus, his delight knew no limits. Aaron was taken aback by the doctor's discovery at their first ultrasound. Despite their excitement about the procedure, Rachel knowingly chose to use embryos from an ethnic minority, and the doctor confirmed her pregnancy by artificial insemination. Aaron, who was born to white missionary parents in Honduras, knew firsthand the value of a mixed-race household, but that wasn't all. Rachel was actually carrying twins, thanks to the insemination of 2 embryos that had been done to increase the likelihood of success. Their family of 4 grew to 6 in a flash, and they eagerly embraced the adventure that lay ahead. Aaron traveled to Honduras with Rachel and their children 9 months later, when Aaron felt the twins' contractions and knew they were about to be born. The physicians could see something was wrong when the babies were born, but Aaron was by Rachel's side the whole time. The risks associated with carrying twins to term necessitated a cesarean section to ensure the mother's and the baby's well-being. What happened next, though, caught everyone off guard. Aaron became nervous because the doctor's face betrayed the impending delivery of bad news. His emotion was so intense that he started crying the moment he saw the babies. Unexpected and moving, this day at the hospital will remain in Aaron's memory always. Aaron gazed over at Rachel when she took in the doctor's words. Caught between shock and joy, joined hands, they welcomed the unexpected turn that destiny had cast into their growing family. An unexpected turn of events confronted Aaron and Rachel when they considered names for their anticipated children. As Rachel entered labor, Aaron braced himself for the arrival of 2 African-American infants. However, his world was thrown upside down when the doctor announced that it was actually triplets. Incredulous, the doctor demanded to know whether the couple could confirm that Rachel had only received 2 embryos during the implant procedure. Aaron couldn't contain his shock. None of them had considered the possibility of having triplets. The wave of emotions in the operating room was tremendous. Even though I felt like a father to Ford and Catherine, to make matters worse, the doctor informed them that they were unaware that one of the embryos had split, leading to the birth of triplets. Their long-sought desire to have a full family was finally coming true, and Aaron was astounded by the beauty of his 3 new children when he cradled them in his arms. And Whitley and Riley were born to Rachel in 2016. The arrival of triplets was more than they had anticipated, albeit it was nonetheless unexpected. The arrival of their children brought an immense feeling of fulfillment and joy to Aaron and Rachel, as they realized their family was now entire. The subsequent heartbreak was completely unexpected by the Roberts. Even though they were proud to be parents to their 5 children, they did not share the same ethnicity or DNA. Their interracial family was a beautiful realization of their ideal, and they treasured it. In light of their unusual voyage, Aaron said, "Our family may not resemble the typical one, but we're grateful it became a reality, considering our country's history. The diversity that comes from our differences is the beauty of our multi-ethnic family," Aaron added, his mind still wandering to the possibility that their extended family supported them. "It forces us to change the way we think, talk, and live." Inspiring moments came to him as he was conversing with African American friends on Saturday mornings while their youngster was getting a haircut. Regretfully, not all agreed with their strategy. "Seeing so much love from the majority of our friends and family was encouraging," he remarked, "but learning that some had unfollowed us on Instagram after we posted photos of the triplets was a sobering moment." This realization made their inner circles clear. Aaron and Rachel endured mocking comments and condemning looks without faltering in their pride for their multicultural family. There will always be encounters like the African American mother shaking her head or the old woman in Walmart who stared at us with disgust, Aaron said. "We knew being a white couple with non-white kids in the South would draw attention and elicit different reactions. Luckily, everything went well for the Roberts as well. They were not looking for validation, but they were also aware that not everyone would share their enthusiasm for diversity. We are aware that there will be onlookers who disagree with our decisions," Aaron admitted, "It is acceptable that not everyone is in favor of diversity. Nobody's going to be happy no matter what we do. The idea that God calls people from every tongue, tribe, and nation is fundamental to Christianity was something that Aaron thought about, by recognizing and appreciating the unique qualities and experiences of individuals. We can better understand and appreciate the wonder that is God's handiwork in the world. Our differences are a source of pride, not contempt." Aaron summed up, the couple's opinions on embryo adoption were part of their larger diversity advocacy. To them, adopting embryos is just as big a deal as adopting a child. "After researching, we learned there are millions of embryos waiting to be adopted," said Rachel. "The embryos we received had been frozen for 12 years. We're not claiming these lives are more significant than those of babies and children waiting to be adopted worldwide," Rachel said. "Every life of a child is valuable." They caution that adoption is a significant decision even though they are pleased with the procedure. Additionally, Aaron and Rachel agree that not everyone is a good fit for embryo adoption. The donor family may find embryo adoption to be extremely challenging. Rachel understood. "Making the difficult choice to give your frozen embryos for adoption is one of the hardest ones you will ever have to make. Whether your biological children are being raised by someone else for financial, familial, medical, or age-related reasons, it hurts to know this." Despite its difficulties, Aaron and Rachel's decision to adopt embryos turned out to be ideal. They welcomed triplets and treasured the invaluable experience of being pregnant. Rachel expressed her sincere gratitude to the courageous and selfless biological parents who gave the embryos and called it beautiful and unique. The Roberts welcomed adoption with open hearts and minds, and they were showered with blessings after benefits, though she never imagined it would happen so fast. Rachel had originally intended for 4 or 5 children. "Our kids are healthy and happy, raised by 2 devoted parents who inculcate moral principles," she stated. "We're sure they'll develop into kind, optimistic, and compassionate people." Bringing up 5 children is no easy task. Anyone who has kids understands how busy they can be for moms. "Imagine having 5 right now," Rachel laughed. "My days are spent playing with all 5 of them, tending to household chores, feeding hungry children, changing diapers, and nurturing little hearts. In addition, I'm finding time to eat some food and learning how to style the hair of 4 stunning girls and 1 adorable young guy." Regarding the possibility of growing their family even more, Rachel said, "We'll see what the future holds. We're loving this stage of life for the time being," she stated in an interview. They surely have rich and busy days with 5 kids. Aaron and Rachel haven't given up on their other objectives in life. They decided to relocate to Talpa after the triplets were born. Rachel and Aaron both work in the capital and are dedicated to helping the less poor. Even though Rachel is now a full-time mother, they are committed to spreading the gospel in whatever manner they can. Despite the challenges of parenting 5 children, despite the Robert family's unconventional photos, their love and uniqueness are evident. The Roberts have demonstrated their humanity via their inspiring family tale, and their kids seem to be happy than ever. People all around the world have been grateful for their decision to adopt children who are in need since the start of their amazing journey. Even if they can't have it all, Rachel and Aaron understand that they have enough to be happy in life. Despite the vitriol they've received for having African American children, nothing makes them any less happy. After watching the stories above, do you have any thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. If you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and share our channel. That's all about today's stories. See you next time.